Welcome to our recap of The Greatest Showman. This musical journey takes us through the life of P.T. Barnum. As a young boy in the 1800s, Barnum works alongside his tailor father, Philo. One day, they visit the home of Mr. Hallett and his daughter, Charity. During their visit, P.T. makes Charity laugh so hard she spits out her tea, which enrages her father, who slaps Barnum and forbids him from interacting with her. Despite this, P.T. and Charity grow close, spending time together whenever they can. Even when Charity is sent away to finishing school, the two keep in touch by writing letters. Eventually, they reunite as adults and Barnum proposes to Charity. Barnum works for a trading company until one day his boss announces that the company is shutting down due to bankruptcy after their trading ships sink to the bottom of the ocean. Returning home to his wife, Charity, and their daughters, Caroline and Helen, Barnum brings a spinning lamp or wishing machine as a gift for Caroline's birthday. As Charity and the girls make their wishes, a new idea begins to form in Barnum's mind. Barnum secures a $10,000 loan from the bank, using the deed to his trading vessels as collateral. With the funds, he opens a museum of oddities, believing the unusual will captivate the public. However, the museum struggles to attract visitors, and the idea is largely dismissed by most people. Barnum sets out across town in search of unique individuals to feature in his show. Among those he finds are Charles Stratton, a dwarf, Letty Lutz, a bearded woman, an obese man known as the Lord of Leeds, a hair-covered man referred to as Dog Boy, and an 8-foot-tall giant. Though initially regarded as outcasts, Barnum convinces them to perform, and together they put on nightly shows that quickly win over audiences. However, one person who remains unimpressed is critic James Gordon Bennett. Despite Bennett's disinterest, his remarks inspire Barnum to rebrand the show as P.T. Barnum's Circus. The circus begins to generate healthy profits, allowing Barnum to move his family into a luxurious mansion and enroll Caroline in ballet school. However, she soon becomes disheartened as the other girls mock her for being part of a circus family. Later, Barnum encounters a playwright named Philip Carlyle. He offers Philip the chance to join his circus, and Philip agrees, provided he receives 10% of the profits. The troupe is invited to England to meet Queen Victoria. When she comments on Charles's height, he humorously responds that she isn't very tall either. After a brief, awkward pause, the Queen bursts into laughter. Later, Barnum and Philip meet renowned opera singer Jenny Lind and invite her to perform, hoping to make her an international sensation. Jenny joins the show back in the States and performs before a large crowd, including Philip's parents and Charity's. Her performance is a hit, and even Bennett seems to enjoy it. Meanwhile, Philip finds himself falling for the trapeze artist Ann Wheeler. After the show, Barnum hosts a party, but when the rest of the troupe tries to join, he turns them away. Although initially hurt, the troupe chooses not to be discouraged and instead embraces who they are, regardless of how others perceive them. Philip attempts to introduce Anne to his parents, but they disapprove of her due to her race. Upset by their reaction, Anne leaves, and Philip confronts his parents for their prejudice. He then seeks out Anne, and together they express their mutual feelings for each other. Barnum goes on tour with Jenny, leaving Philip in charge as the ringmaster. Meanwhile, protesters frequently gather outside the circus, harassing the troupe for their physical differences. The separation begins to strain Barnum's relationship with Charity and their daughters. During the tour, Jenny starts to develop feelings for Barnum, but he stays loyal to Charity. Upset by his rejection, Jenny threatens to quit, though Barnum persuades her to finish the tour. After one performance, the press captures a photo of Jenny kissing Barnum before she ultimately quits. Barnum returns home from his tour and is reunited with his family when he hears about a fire at the circus. He rushes to the scene just as the flames engulf the entire building. Philip, in a panic, runs inside to find Anne, but she has already escaped with W.D. Barnum, then rushes in to save Philip moments before the building collapses. His daughters cry, fearing the worst, but Barnum emerges carrying an unconscious Philip, who is quickly taken to the hospital. Barnum sits outside the charred remains of the theater when Bennett approaches him. He informs Barnum that the police have arrested the thugs responsible for the fire. Though Bennett admits he didn't enjoy the show, he suggests another critic might have called it a celebration of humanity. He then hands Barnum a newspaper featuring a photo of Jenny kissing him and her announcement of quitting. Panicked, Barnum rushes home to Charity, only to find her packing their bags. The bank is evicting them, but Charity is also upset after seeing the newspaper, despite Barnum's attempts to explain. Barnum retreats to a bar to drink, only to be confronted by the entire troupe. Letty reminds him that, despite his mistakes, he was the one who saw them as more than just freaks and gave them a family and a place to belong. Inspired by their words, Barnum resolves to pick himself up and help the troupe return to performing. He then rushes to Charity's childhood home, where his daughters tell him she's at the beach. Barnum finds Charity and apologizes for being consumed by his pursuit of fame. She replies that all she ever wanted was the man she fell in love with. Philip, now recovered, offers to use his share of the profits to help restart the circus. Although Barnum hesitates, Philip insists on becoming an equal partner with 50% of the shares. Barnum relaunches the show in a tent, featuring circus animals and the entire troupe. Crowds flock to see the performances. Barnum eventually decides to step back, handing over the role of ringmaster to Philip so he can focus on watching his daughters grow up. As Philip closes the show with a kiss for Anne, Barnum rides off on an elephant to reunite with Charity and the girls. The film concludes with Barnum and Charity watching Caroline's ballet performance. In that moment, Barnum realizes that everything he ever truly wanted and needed has always been right in front of him. Thank you for being a part of our recap of The Greatest Showman. May you find joy in the magic of life and the beauty of love.